Coming up on this episode of Roots from LNER.
The one time I've ever kind of used my somewhat celebrity was to get sponsored by JCB, and they lent me one for a year. I used to drive to training in it, and then when I'd finished training, I would go and drive over to the neighbour had a cider farm. Part of his orchard was dying, so I took out like 200 trees, levelled it all, dug all his ditches, and he used to pay me in this unbelievable homemade cider.
Oh God, your dream came true.
I started DJing about 13 years ago now, and I found it to be the perfect replacement for playing. Same adulation, same intensity, pressure, emotive effect, endorphin release, but without getting your head kicked in.
So
you know, starting to go into Vegas when I was 21 was insane.
How many times have you been there now?
I went to 19 times to Vegas.
No, you haven't.
Yeah, and that was wild. And we used to do that every year, come what may, as a group of lads, end of season, and that was just mind-boggling.
Welcome to Roots from LNER. Back to the window seat. Reserve your spot with our seat selector. Visit lner.co.uk. Hi there, I'm Jenni Falconer, and today on Roots, I am joined by a former international rugby player. He has 77 caps for England. He's also an international DJ, an author and a presenter, and it's just been announced that he'll be appearing on the next series of Celebs Go Dating. It is James Haskell. James, welcome to Roots. It's nice to have you. Now, you can see we've got our train sign here.
We have.
And we're headed to Edinburgh.
Yes.
We'll discuss why in a little while. But first, I want you to imagine you're on a train right now. Would you be facing forwards, backwards?
I'm happy to sit anywhere. I don't have any preference. I ideally like to have a bit of a table because I just get my laptop out and I sit and work. That's what I do on trains, really. And again, there'll be a theme, I think, through this where I'm lucky enough to try to be able to get first class and do it so I can sit and work quietly, because unfortunately the size of me, it's not that practical, and a lot of time you get someone sitting next to you and my shoulders are wider than the seat, and so every time you're like this you can't really use your laptop, and so I would take trains if it meant I could work, and that's why I normally do it. So yeah, I'm a bit of a passenger princess in that regard.
Actually, I mean, you are quite broad.
Yeah.
How does that affect like different kind of modes of transport for you?
Yeah, it's horrific. You know, unfortunately, not on footballers' money, on rugby players' money. You have to still be very frugal about sort of things. And getting divorced, that's an expensive habit as well. I mean, I've done it once, but I won't be doing it again. Yeah, so if I try and flying economy is an absolute nightmare because your knees are up above your ankle. And if I say I've gone DJ and you've played until like 5 a.m, you know, you've got up and you've had to get back for my daughter or whatever else. If I don't fly the seat where I can at least put my legs underneath or a bit of leg room, eat something. Also, if I turn up annoyed, hot, you know, I obviously have a modicum of a profile. People will just come up, tap you on the head, pull your earphones out, want to chat to you. So it's a bit of a nightmare, really. So I do try to, where I can, go big and at least get business class, or taxis. Cars are fine, but certain cars as well. Like if I do a shoot, I'm always saying, listen, can you send like an E-Class, an S-Class Mercedes? Because they'll send us like a Honda Civic and a Prius. You can't work and your knees are above your head. There's nowhere to sit down. And it just means everything's centered around, for me, maximizing time.
Yeah.
Travel, I love traveling. I don't have any problem traveling. But as long as I can work, trying to sit for 3 hours and just watching stuff on your phone or sitting there or like reading, unless I'm sort of on a holiday, that I love reading, but not when I'm traveling, if there's a chance to work. But like on this last flight I took to Tenerife for this dating show I was doing, I was stuck with 3 people. There was a big unit next to me. I was stuck like that. I can't open my laptop, can't do anything. So I just sat there like staring at the back of the seat, just listening to audiobooks for like the 2.5 hours that came, which is fine, but it's not ideal, you know?
It's not the dream. How tall are you?
I'm 6'4", but the issue for me is the length of my legs and the width of my shoulders, because also they stick me near the aisle. I must get that trolley bashed into me about 50 times a flight, and they start to apologise the first 2 or 3 times. Then after that, they do not give a crap. They just don't say anything. And just like that, and if you fall asleep, because of the years of playing, my neck doesn't go back that well, so I can't put my head back on the thing, so you can't sleep. So you're basically just trapped in a seat. And so at least if you can work, that's your focus. But unless I've got something to lean my head against, I can't do it. So I know it's a very first world problem, but you know, it's difficult. So I like trains to be able to sit and go there and stuff. And they give you food every now and then, and if it's working. When British Transport ain't the best.
Well, look, hopefully you'll be comfortable.
Thank
We've got
you.
a bit of faux velvet for you.
We have actually, yeah. It's very comfortable. Yeah,
So,
very nice. I do
okay.
feel like I'm on a train to nowhere, but a train to Edinburgh, really.
Okay, well, look, I want to chat to you. There's so much we can talk about, but I wanted to start with a bit of a true or false.
Yes.
this is facts I have found about you. And I don't know whether this is absolute nonsense or whether it's true. First up, you're passionate about magnet fishing.
So I was passionate about magnet fishing.
What the hell is magnet fishing?
Okay, so it's one of those things where I'm such an archetypal sort of meathead lad that I saw this video online where people would buy these big magnets, tie a rope to it, throw it in canals and rivers, and find out and pull out different things. So the first time I did it, I bought this magnet online, and it had like a 500 kg pulling strength. So once it stuck to something, it would be able to lift.
You think you're going to pull out like a treasure chest of gold?
First time I pulled 2 safes out and a bayonet. And the safes, unfortunately, were drilled and empty. But they'd obviously people would throw it in rivers. So I pulled out bikes, I pulled out a bayonet, pulled out a house breaking in kit. It was like a hammer, screwdrivers, lockpicks in a sock, 3 or 4 mobile phones. People are pulling guns out, grenades, loads of stuff out there.
And what do? Do you have like a skip by the edge of the river that you just
so it's what I did. Obviously, I try to be responsible. I did it a few times. And it's because I lived near a few canals up in Northampton, and I would sort of, if I wanted to be mindful, it was quite therapeutic just going off and doing this thing because you're not really thinking about anything else. But you collect it and then just take it to the tip or just throw it away. But it's sort of it's kind of got wild now. So people are doing it in all these big cities in the sea, and they're pulling out stuff. They are finding money. They're finding gold in stuff. But also pulling out old munitions as well, which is obviously particularly dangerous, like an old World War II bomb stuck at the bottom of a canal ain't ideal. So unfortunately, having had a daughter and focused very much on work, I haven't been for years and years. But like anything you do in life in these modern days, once you do it 2 or 3 times and someone mentions it, it now becomes a thing. Where I was on, I did Talk Sport with Alan Brazil, and they made me eat humble pie about England versus Scotland game the other day.
I know it was a great game.
It was a great game. And they asked me all about magnet fishing.
Okay, well, you see, it is kind of true.
It is kind of true, yes.
And you have done it, and you have once spoken about it, and forever it may haunt you.
Yes, and I've pulled out safes and stuff, but I made no money out of it.
Okay, right. This would be interesting to see how we go for this one then. You are a rugby player. You were a rugby player because you couldn't be a digger driver.
Yes, so I wanted to join the SAS or drive a digger, but my parents sort of steered me away and said, look, the amount of money they'd spent or wasted, depending how you look at it, on my education, that I wasn't allowed to be a JCB digger driver. But actually, the one time I've ever kind of used my somewhat celebrity was to get sponsored by JCB, and they lent me one for a year. I used to drive to training in it, and then when I'd finished training, I would go and drive over to the neighbour had a cider farm, and I took out part of his orchard was dying, so I took out like 200 trees, levelled it all, dug all his ditches, and he used to pay me in this unbelievable homemade cider.
Oh my God, your dream came true.
I did come true, and they lent me loads of stuff, so it was literally a boyhood dream. Like boys obsessed with diggers. Bodie likes tractors, my daughter, but I actually managed to create an opportunity where I got paid, well, not paid, but got to drive a digger to and from training. So that was So that and I would be very happy. And I think on most days I drive past roadworks, I'm fascinated by what I see. And I think, do you know what? There is a real kind of simplicity and almost creativity going and doing that. I think I'd be very happy if all else failed and I got cancelled. I think I would just go and tarmac road, dig them up, do it, no problem. And I actually trained and got my license to be able to do one. So I'm what is known as a trained operator.
Well, I really hope you don't get cancelled.
Well, I hope not, but it's a good fallback plan.
But it is indeed. And this one, I think I'm taking a punt. We've got 2 true so far. This one, I'm not sure. James Haskell, you have had a bath with Madonna.
Yeah. In
See,
South,
it's true as well.
Yeah.
So do we want to leave it there?
No. I mean, I'll never leave anything anyway. I mean, we had I used to play for Stade Francais in Paris, and it was owned by the owner called Max Guazzini, who was used to own NRG Radio, was a marketing genius. He created the pink shirts. He created this calendar called the Jour de Stade, which was the biggest selling calendar in the world, biggest selling gay calendar in the world. It was kind of art, but in inverted commas.
This when all the rugby players were starkers.
Yeah, starkers in artistic poses. So when I signed for them, I was told that that I was money grabbing and I'd gone over there for all the wrong reasons. And so he actually asked me to be on the cover of it. And I said, I don't think it's a good idea. Max got very upset and said he'd rip my contract unless I did it. So I went to Paris and did it. And part of his kind of being a celebrity in Paris, he knew Madonna. Madonna came to one of the games. At the Stade de France, we had a big bath in the at the old school kind of baths. We were in it. Madonna came in, just took her clothes off and jumped in the bath. Well, in her underwear, but yeah. So I've had a bath with Madonna.
Okay, there's so much to take in from that. So you go and play in France, and had you done sexy photo shoots before?
Yeah, well, I'd done a few before, but this was kind of naked on a rooftop in Paris for this calendar. Like, but if you Google it, Dieu de Stade, James Haskell, they will pop up. I mean, yeah, I don't recommend that if you don't want that on your search history. But yeah, and then I kind of done a few other things. I've been quite lucky. We were paid to be in shape, so I'm not that shy in coming forward. So I've done a few of those things. Yeah.
And then, so for all you guys just there in your bath, and then Madonna jumps in. I mean,
wild. Yes, it was.
So what would that have been about 10, 15 years ago?
I was in Paris 2009 to 2011.
Okay, so maybe like 16 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah, she still looked great. I mean, she just jumped in and jumped out again. But...
Isn't she much shorter than you think? I mean, for you, she'd have been like a third of your size.
I mean, I was sort of slightly aware that it was Madonna, so I kind of didn't get overly involved. But I think it was just more fun. Max was there, was laughing. So my old the story comes from my old teammate Ollie Phillips, who kind of told the story that we were in there. So once he'd thrown us on the bus, you got to admit to it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that did absolutely happen.
Oh wow. Okay, so that was a great start. Then I feel like this interview could go anywhere now.
Well, it could,
you never know. You spent a lot of time in France, didn't you?
Yes.
Is that from being young that you would go over there?
No, so I basically played 5 years. I mean, I was always quite lucky when I was younger to travel. So we used to have lots of holidays, Portugal and Spain and Cornwall, places like that, kind of family holiday destinations. And then my mum had some very good friends in Paris. She speaks fluent French. She sent me over there to help with my French. I'm not sure it helped my French, but I sort of saw a different side of Paris. And then I played 5 years at Wasps. I signed when I was 24 to go to Paris for 2 years. I then left Paris and went to Japan for a year. Then I went to New Zealand to play for a year. Then I came back and played 6 years for Wasps, moved 1 year to Northampton. And then I retired in Northampton 2019. Then I moved back to London, but I've lived most parts of London and obviously lots of some wicked places around the world. But Paris is wicked because it's such an amazing place. I mean, they're not that Parisians are very different than other French people. Lots of they can be quite not interested, don't want to talk to you. There's a certain type of person, whereas a lot of the French in the kind of south of France and regions are much more kind of engaged and bigger rugby fans. But Paris was an amazing place, driving past the Arc de Triomphe every morning, going past the Eiffel Tower, just that kind of French cafe lifestyle, going to have lunch with the boys and, sort of platters of moule de mer and all this kind of stuff and fruits de mer and, and then them all having cigarettes and coffee afterwards, just wild in comparison to what, you'd have training at WAS, and it was sort of, dog food bowl with like sausages and beans in it and something else. And everyone was very professional. So to go to France, they're eating exquisite food and drinking red wine. It was a bit mind-blowing.
Completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, living in Paris as well, I should say, to go past the Arc de Triomphe every day is amazing. But it is an amazing place, isn't it? But it's like, when people come to London, it doesn't matter even if you live in London, driving past Buckingham Palace every day would be exciting, wouldn't it?
I think big city living for me is amazing. I think just the architecture, the beauty, but like any cities, it has its ups and downs, weird places and stuff. But I think I love that kind of culture. We were a 4-minute walk from the Champs-Élysées. We'd go to the Louvre, we'd go to...
So hang on, you played rugby out there and you stayed in a place just off the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah.
I mean...
It's not a bad life,
How's your French?
Yeah, it's okay. Do you know what? I understand more than I speak. And actually, obviously, the more time you don't speak it, it's difficult. But when people... I do understand what they're talking about. I think after a few beers, I'd probably kick into a bit more French. But I'm not... Ollie Phillips, my housemate, kind of really knuckled down, but I was coming back to England all the time for England training. And actually, I was single at the time, and I can't imagine why, but I sort of didn't have that much luck with French girls, whereas Ollie was much better than that. So I would often sort of gravitate to more English girls who were coming over for the weekends or coming over to stay. So I'd sort of, he lived and breathed it and listened to cassette tapes in the car and he just became fluent, which was amazing.
And he was declaring undying love in French, which is an important thing to...
very important. But I was very single, so there was no need to do that, I think.
And when you were, you said that your mum was fluent in French and you had amazing holidays in Cornwall. Spain and Portugal. Were you kind of a family that would do every year? You do Portugal for the summer? And
Yeah, I mean, so I would often go to Cornwall with one of my best friends. They had a little house down there, or their grandparents did. So we would have, the kind of beach holidays where you'd wake up in the morning, you would go out all day, digging holes in the sand, damming up bits, going fishing, rubber dinghies out in the water, in and out of it all day, eat Cornish pasty for lunch, go back. One of their parents would cook, sausage pasta. We'd read, books or whatever, and then we'd go to bed and we'd do it again for a week. And it was kind of really kind of homely. My parents would. My godfather had a villa in Portugal, near Lagos. So we kind of would go there. They would hire a place. We'd go there as a family, and I'd spend all day in the swimming pool by the pool. We'd go to the beach. We'd go, in Spain. And again, I wouldn't support it now, but my dad would go and we'd watch a bullfight. You'd go and see all this kind of stuff, and it was just a very different time. And we'd go and do these things as a family, and we'd go out for dinner on the night, and you'd walk along the prom, and you'd promenade, and you'd kind of convince your dad to buy jewelry that like one of those things they sell, and all this kind of stuff that just kids do. And it was just a very nice kind of family period. And then we'd go to Spain and try different places. Cyprus was a big one. We'd go to Cyprus a lot. There's a place called Amethyst Beach Hotel, I remember. We went there, and that was kind of the height of luxury. And so we just sort of had that. We were very lucky, but we sort of varied. And then sometimes it was a family. We'd go to Devon and go and rent a cottage, and we would go to the beach again and repeat that as a family. So I was very lucky. But some years we wouldn't go away at all. It wasn't set every year. It was when they could afford it, because when they weren't spending exorbitant amounts on my private education, really, because they didn't have that much money, my parents. They just sort of, my dad worked relentlessly, and when it was good, you could have a holiday. When it was bad, you couldn't,
Yeah. Oh, you went to you were at Wellington, weren't you?
Yes.
I mean, that is one of the prestigious schools.
Yes. Well, actually, when I went there, so my dad went there and I went there, and actually it wasn't where it is now. Now it's kind of become this centre of absolute excellence, co-ed all the way through, and they put the fees up. I mean, I don't exactly know what it is, but it's pretty mental.
I mean, it's not
like
cheap,
30 grand a term, 35 grand. That's
insane.
Yeah, insane. And I don't know. My friends, one of my co-hosts, my podcast, Good About Rugby, Alex, has sent his son to Eton, and it's just, I'm just like, I don't know how you do it, but I don't know how people do it. But but my daughter's certainly not going there. She's going to go to a nice school still, but not at 60 grand a year or whatever it is.
I know, it's absolutely nuts. But your parents did it for you.
I know they did do it for me, and I think you've got to look at the way your children are and whether they'll suit it. For me, Wellington suited me because it gave me lots of opportunities. I played every sport. I represented the chess team. I did all the plays. I did everything you could do.
I mean, with all the stuff the fact that you did so much at school, and also that you went all these amazing holidays with your family, have you got? I mean, also let's not forget the fact you've travelled a lot with the rugby as well. What is the most crazy adventurous trip you think you've been on?
Well, so a lot of my holidays kind of have been have always been holidays, not adventure holidays. So I mean, starting to go into Vegas when I was 21 was insane.
How many times have you been there now?
I went to 19 times to Vegas.
No, you haven't.
Yeah. And that was wild. And we used to do that every year, come what may, as a group of lads, end of season. And that was just mind-boggling. The first kind of pool party I went to. It's actually why I fell in love with music and DJing, because I saw someone at the front of, say, Wet Republic at the MGM, Calvin Harris playing, controlling everyone's mood and vibe. And I was like, I want some of that. Beautiful people around you, people just sort of, its falseness is its redeeming feature, because Vegas is whatever you want it to be. It can be Cirque du Soleil, it can be Michelin-starred restaurants, it can be family, or it can be debaucherous like the movie The Hangover. It all depends what you're into. So that was kind of really eye-opening. I think, again, that, I look back at really fondly about the kind of holidays to Cornwall, those adventures and stuff. I'm trying to think. I mean, now my kind of holidays are a bit weird. I've never skied. I wouldn't ski anymore. My body's wrecked. But the chance of you absolutely falling over and dislocating your leg, shoulder, and arm, it's not worth it. So I go and DJ now at Ski, and I go up mountains. But I hadn't seen real.
Oh, so you still completely tap into that culture?
Oh my God, yeah, 100%. But without any of the skiing. So while they're skiing, I go and train, look after myself, go and eat, do all my emails, have some coffees, explore, look at the beauty. Maybe go on a sled if I could be bothered. But then I'll DJ the at Ski. So I remember my first kind of trips seeing that ski culture, that drinking ski culture kind of, and DJing an après ski, and it was wild. And then also watching people then all try to get home afterwards, like sliding down the dark. It's like, I have never seen anything like it. It's just the done thing. You're like,
I know.
how are they getting home?
I
And
know.
more often than not, they don't. And then you see, it is a very different world. So I think that kind of side of stuff was very wild. But I've never done kind of trips you've climbed mountains and everything else. That for me, a holiday is about relaxing. It is not about more slogging. And my life is very chaotic.
So that is the one time you could sit there and be like, right, I am now here. I don't have to be on my laptop.
Yeah.
You can switch off.
So that's it. Probably the only time I do switch off is I sit and read. I would just sit and read, and I can read for hours. I don't mind how hot it is. I would go. I'd go to Dubai probably once a year because you'd be guaranteed sun. We'd play the Six Nations. The weather here would be toilet. You'd then get a chance to go to Dubai for a week. I'd sit on a sun lounger in luxury, not leave the hotel, just read. I'd probably read 3 books. I'd head down, get tanned up, eat well, go to bed early or train or whatever it would be, and just love it. And that was really kind of relaxing because nothing in my life looks anything like that at the moment or in the past.
Well, you want to go to a hot, sunny destination. So today we're Edinburgh bound.
Yes.
Why did you choose Edinburgh?
So I chose Edinburgh because it's a very, very beautiful place.
It really is.
It is. It's incredible. I think obviously steeped in kind of history. I've been there a number of times. Murrayfield is actually my least favourite stadium.
What?
I know. I tell you why, because I think it's actually quite far back from the crowd are quite far back. And it's just synonymous with Scotland ruining England's parties. We saw it in the Six Nations. It often rains. But in terms of kind of food, culture, restaurant, bars, we've done theatre tours up there where we performed. I've DJ'd up there. I love Scottish people. I think it's a really nice part of the world. I've played there a number of times for England. I made my first game for England under 18s up there. So it's just synonymous with kind of this beauty, sadness, and also an amazing vibe,
Yeah. I mean, you've obviously got to see Edinburgh in a completely different light as well. And so it's quite nice to get to spend time there, especially if you've been taken there to play rugby or whatever. I mean, presumably you wouldn't be going out celebrating if you haven't.
No, I haven't won. But I mean,
success.
again, we get lucky to stay in different hotels, and I kind of love traditional things, and the architecture is amazing. I always go to every city I go. I always find the best coffee spot. I always find the best place for breakfast, and then I'll go and have a walk around the town and see what's going on. I was thinking about doing like a show at the Fringe. I've never been there.
Have you not been to the Fringe? Because you would have gone this time of year then.
Yeah.
You've not been in the summer.
No, I did present a thing or at the Fringe about a documentary. So I hosted a panel for Warner Brothers up there. So I saw a little bit of it. But I just love the culture, the art, the vibe, the passion. As I said, I love Scottish people, so it's really nice. My next extension is I really want to go and see like the Locks and go up there and go up to. I mean, we did go to. Oh God, there's a really amazing hotel up there.
What is that?
No, I would like
not Glen Eagles.
Glen Eagles. So I went to Glen Eagles for the first time, and we did a podcasting with Good Bad Rugby where we did shooting, we did golf, we did everything. And the service, the food, the hotel was just unbelievable. Justin Bieber actually walked in.
Oh, you were there when he was there? I was there the day before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was there the day before. Literally left, and I was looking on social
media
going,
past me.
Justin Bieber's there.
Yeah, he walked past me at reception. I was on my phone, and these 4 lads turn up in matching tracksuits, looking a bit like a boy band. So I was sort of looking at them while I was on the phone, and then Justin Bieber got out, not looking particularly happy. But some of the people on the shoot met him, said it was really lovely. Which, as you can imagine, he probably has got a lot on his mind. But just the food and culture up there was fantastic. But I really want to go and I'd like to do some deer stalking up there, or go up and really experience a kind of a proper Scottish kind of vibe, because I think it's an amazing place.
Well, you need to get your mate Mike Tyndall to take you.
Well, I know. I mean,
he's well connected.
They don't let people like me anywhere near Balmoral, unfortunately.
I'm sure they can recommend a little Airbnb in the area, though, and you'll come out and see you. Maybe that's
give me a royal visit, will he?
He will drive down in the Land Rover and visit you. That might be it. I mean, there are so many lovely places in the UK to go and visit as well. I've got to be honest. I mean, traveling around Scotland, there are lots. The only thing I do think we need to work on is the way you say loch.
Loch.
There we go.
Fine,
That's
there
a
we
bit
are.
better. There we go.
Sound
then.
like an English, yeah.
Can we talk about Australia as
Push
well?
on, yeah.
I know you've been there for rugby, but you also were there
Yeah.
for the jungle
Yes.
when you got famously very hangry.
Yes, I did, yes.
You literally could never have eaten less.
I have never eaten less in my entire life. And also, I know you're into kind of health and fitness and you're running and stuff, but what you learn about people in the real world, particularly in TV, they have no concept of calories or nutrition. And so when I did the show, they said to me, you'll be having about 1,500 calories a day, and if you win stars, you'll eat more. So when I did it, I remember waking up morning, they had these tiny rice packets, and you have these beans. You would have you have a cup, and you had 5 spoonfuls of rice with a bit of olive oil on it. No salt, no pepper, nothing else. And then you would have 5 spoonfuls of beans at lunch, right? And when you put that into MyFitnessPal, equivalent, that's 300 calories.
Wow.
And that's what you're having for majority of the day. And then you would win stars, and it would be like a crocodile's foot, a mango, and a cabbage. And the best will in the world, that's probably 800 calories. I mean, even if they gave you butter, it gave you fats to bump up the calories, nuts would make a difference. So, I mean, actually, my time on there was amazing because it kind of became defined by me sort of getting, not even annoyed, but sort of getting frustrated with my campmates' inability to sort of vote on a simple A and B answer. But actually what really kind of saved me was the reaction to my campmates when I left. So I got kind of voted out 2 days after that.
Can we just establish you were in there the year it was like Kate Garraway,
yes,
Roman Kemp, Nadine from Girls Aloud.
Yeah, Nadine, Kate and Jenna.
Yes, that's right.
Ian Wright. So yeah, it was an amazing group of people. But I never watched any of it back because my experience of it was very different. Is that actually the thing that kind of kept my sanity and sort of gave me faith back into the world was obviously over here the editors had put some sort of narrative together, and then when I left, all my campmates cried, bar Kate Garraway actually, which was bizarre because I spent a lot of time sort of, she struggled massively with being in there and find it very hard. So I didn't find it that hard. I found it hard with the food, but I spent a lot of time doing all the chores, doing everything, and also helping people who missed loved ones or struggled, and that fraternal vibe. So when I got voted out, everyone was shocked and they got very upset. And Ant and Dec kind of said at the time, "Oh, we've never seen a reaction to someone leaving like that." And it was so much so the Sun ran a piece going, well, if James Haskell is as portrayed, why is everyone devastated that he's leaving? And that was kind of a saving grace because throughout my career, I've not always been popular with the media or fans, but my peers and people that I really respected always valued me. And actually, when we saw it with the Lions DVD, all the guys that I'd never met were like best guy, best vibe, good team man. And that was the same thing proved with that. So it was actually okay, but I lost 12 kgs in 18 days.
Whoa, that is
and I came back and
it's like 2 stone.
Yeah, it was mad. And so and it's pretty dangerous, really, if you're honest with yourselves. But again, I went into that program. I never complained about anything. I never said anything because you sign your life away to do that show. And it's a bit like when I've been doing Celebs Go Dating is, long days, long filming, you're asked to sometimes do things that, are good for the TV, not necessarily for you, but that's why you sign to do it. You have to, if you take the king's shilling, you have to get on and do it. And so I was I didn't find it hard. I found it very boring, I must say, because unless you are doing challenges, the thing that everyone thinks at home and the narrative that's created is if you vote people to do challenges, you're punishing them. You're absolutely not. You are giving them the best experience, unless they are, absolutely terrified. But for me, all I wanted to do was a challenge. It's just to get up and do something because sitting in the sun, the baking sun all day, not eating, all you do is talk about eating. And what they don't show you is, for example, some people forget that their problems aren't everyone else's problems. So they then start sharing stuff and they start messing with the whole mood. And a team environment or a good team, you're able to go, listen, you need to stop this and you're upsetting them. And if someone didn't win stars, that person might upset that person who didn't win the stars. And you've got this into politics. So I spent a lot of my time doing all that, keeping everyone because I was used to team sport.
Trying to keep everyone in that mental, positive mental space.
You had to. And not having to go at each other and, trying to talk people off the roof and stuff. It was very difficult. And then, and I think there's also some people who just don't have any emotional intelligence in there. And it was surprising some of the people who didn't, who just can't can't understand and would say things that would just trigger other people and they get upset. And you're there going like, flipping heck, it's not that hard. So it was quite tiring from that perspective. And also the lack of kind of instant feedback was tricky because then only to come back and go, oh God, there's sort of, I had this amazing experience, had all these profound conversations, I was doing all this good stuff. No, that wasn't put on. But again, there are lots of really good bits. So I meet people now who sort of go, I loved you and I'm a celebrity, this was great, and you were really helpful, or you said it how it was. So I think it was quite positive. I definitely do it again.
That was 2019, was it?
Yeah.
And so when did you start DJing?
So I started DJing about 13 years ago now when I was still
much
playing.
Longer than
Much longer than that. Yeah, I started doing it when I was playing. I did it. I did a DJ course that I did one-on-one lessons for sort of 6 months, learned how to do it.
Is it just something that you'd always fancied?
Yeah, I just think it's a combination of, I always use music as a tool to change state, because there's a great saying that my therapist kind of taught me when I was like 17 was, where focus goes, energy flows. And so if you are in a bad mood and you hear a very sad song, it's going to make your mood worse. If you're heartbroken, you hear a love song, you're probably going to, drive your car into a wall screaming, I love you. If you equally hear an amazing song that feels uplifting, it will change your mood. So I became addicted to going to Ibiza and Vegas, seeing someone at the front, controlling everyone's mood. I'm a massive show-off and performer, so I enjoyed that element of it. It was about being an individual as opposed to a team. You're playing music to people that love it, that have a emotive effect on you and them. And, it is a high that you can't really can't put down on paper. And so I'm a bit of a nerd. I like the technology. I like the artistry of it. And I basically just wanted to do it. And I found it to be the perfect replacement for playing. Same adulation, same intensity, pressure, emotive effect, endorphin release, but without getting your head kicked in.
So yeah, that's true. So you're up on stage and you've just got people staring up at you and loving your music.
Well, if they love it, but it's also the artistry of it is getting to a room, looking and making a quick summation of what do they want? Because I was going to play this, but this isn't quite right, and I've got to play this, and how do I capture them, and how do I do that? And when you have these moments where you're building a DJ and building tension in the song, and that release of tension, everyone goes wild. That is addictive in itself. And the artistry of going, anyone can mix two songs together. It's when do you do it at the right time, what goes in with what, and how do you build those moments? And so that for me is just very, very addictive.
So what has been the best gig you've ever done?
Oh God, I mean, I tell you what, there's been a couple. One of the best I ever did actually was bizarrely at Soho Farmhouse. A friend of mine called Carly Wilford was playing. I happened to be there. I walked past it. She was doing a 4-hour set. It was quite calm. It was a hot summer's day. And she said, do you want to come on back to back? And I said, yeah. I had my USB with me. So we dropped it in. I started playing. And I kid you not, by the end of it, we had 250 people standing in front of these DJs, absolutely having it. People were filming it, live streaming it. People were coming from far and wide to come in to get into, who aren't going to come for the day. And the European, I think, head of events was there, and I wanted to close the bars, and they just kept it open. They just kept going, and it was amazing. There was one moment we were sort of building these two true tracks I really liked, and it was me and Carly had earned the right to play that style, because you can't just start with what you want. You've got to build disco house, get everyone on side, and then you can start playing what you want. And it was just, I almost cried. Literally, I was like, it was the one, like, I was just pure elation as everyone builds up and everyone absolutely has it as the sun goes down. It was incredible.
Oh, that sounds really nice. Do you ever have, when you're DJing, does anyone ever come up, having had a few, and ask for a request?
Oh my God.
Can you play Tiffany?
Oh my God. So the requesting's very, very hard, because again, some of the gigs I get booked for. So by the time this comes out, I probably had about 33 records out on different labels. All of it's kind of tech house. It's very club orientated, underground. Lots of big tech house DJs play my music, but I'm not well known as a DJ. People still don't know I do it. So I get booked by people for like sevens tournaments or different events or commercial events, and some of the rugby fans. And so they're not there for the music, they're there because I used to play sport. And they'll come up and try to chat to me while I'm mixing about how their son nearly made it for England, or do I know so-and-so.
Which is nice, but maybe not the right moment.
Not the right moment, because you can't really hear them, and you're sort of mixing and you're trying to do it. And, there's people coming up kind of going, can you play any Eric Clapton? You're like, no, because it's a bit like if you put DJing akin to making a pizza. You start with, you get the base, you put the tomato sauce, you put the cheese on, you put the toppings on. If you took everyone's request, it would be a pizza with ice cream, a chicken leg, a pork sausage, some Ariel Ultra on it. It would be awful. And my favorite thing is you get drunk women who come out and go, have you got anything we can dance to? And you're like, what are you talking about? And also people just don't think. So when you can hear it, they go, will you play any Beyonce? I'm like, can I just ask you, in your opinion, how would I get to Beyonce from where we're playing here? And you see them go, oh yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I can't, it just doesn't work, you know what I mean? And so you kind of get that, but it's luckily a lot of the bigger gigs that they're not allowed anywhere near you, but people will come and chat to you and stuff. So I mean, and also there's also people who give you the critiques.
Yeah.
People come out and go, can I just give you a bit of advice?
Oh.
And you're like, no. And they get very upset when you go, no. And they're like, well, I was like, no, thank you.
Just gonna write a note.
Yeah.
Don't give him
Yeah.
advice when I see him
I know.
teaching next time.
Yeah.
I saw you, it's not quite Ibiza though, it was the Belfry.
Belfry, yeah. But again, that was an interesting one. That was where Tins' golf den. Again, that's one of those things where people think it's kind of a good vibe. So you're playing dance and disco, but I had to fly to Ibiza at sort of 6 a.m. and sort of Tins' golf den. They did this amazing thing. I was supposed to be on at 11, and at 2 a.m. I'm still there, and everyone's drunk, and you're sort of a bit like, oh, what do you do? You know what I mean? Because
Did you make your flight?
I did in the end, yeah, because I just played an hour, got in a car and left, and so it kind of, it's those are very challenging because those smaller gigs where people are not there to listen to music, they're there to dance. It's a bit tricky.
This is you, international DJ now, you see, you're having to leave the Belfry at 2 a.m. to get to Ibiza.
Yeah.
How often do you go to Ibiza?
So one year I had 12 sets, so I went there 12 times. It's probably why I'm divorced.
Is this all over like the summer period?
Yeah, it'd be like once a month. So I went once a month and sometimes twice a month.
I mean, I don't know if this is shameful, but I'm Jenni Falconer. I have never been to Ibiza, and it's not for lack of not wanting to.
Yeah.
It's just never
But I
happened.
tell you why.
So I have no idea how it works. Is
Yeah.
it just an entire island full of clubs?
No. So it is one of the most beautiful places. It is incredible restaurants, hotels, just pure beauty. It's amazing. But there is a big club culture there where you would go, and there's some of the best clubs in the world. They've got Universe, they've got High. They're amazing. You have incredible beach parties, and this island is synonymous with music and partying. So I used to go there with Chloe, my ex-wife, in the off season and we wouldn't go out clubbing. We would just stay in an amazing hotel, Mi Hotel, in a place called Santa Eulalia, and we would just go out to restaurants like you would at any Mediterranean island. And it was just incredible beauty. And then if you wanted to have a night out, you could go and watch your favorite DJ and stuff. And it's actually very different. I think people conflate it with like a Benidorm or Kavos or Ayia Napa, and it's just nothing like that. This is just an incredible place with amazing restaurants in it.
Right. Okay. Fine. I
You
will
need to go.
going.
You need to go just purely to see it, to land, to go and stay in one of the nice hotels, to get some spots. Then go. Actually, I'm going to go to watch Glitterbox at where I think it might be at Pasha this year to watch some music and vibes.
And will you be DJing there a lot this year?
So again, I had a couple of summers there where kind of the music I was making and where I was important. But actually now a lot of my music isn't suited to some of the venues. It's suited to some bigger venues. Unfortunately, I'm just not big enough name. So I've kind of had to take a step back to go forward to then get recognised to do that because of some of the stuff I'm releasing. You know what I mean?
But you are releasing music, and you've got something out now as well.
Yeah, I've got a track that came out called Magic Pills, which has come out on a label called Hexagon, which is a big American label. I've got music coming out every month. And the reason you make music, unlike back in the day, with the DJs weren't originally the stars, then they became the stars. To get noticed, you have to make music, and one record can change your entire life. You look at a guy called Fisher, who's absolutely massive. He was doing some really credible stuff, making some music, and he had 2 or 3 releases. Then he had that 3rd track called "Losing It," which everyone knows, and now he's the biggest tech house artist in the world, traveling around the world. Australian guy, credible performer. And so and lots of people, if it blows up on TikTok and stuff, but there's more music made than ever before.
Yeah.
AI, computers, everybody wants to be a DJ. Everybody wants that lifestyle. So it's a very difficult thing.
But there's also music for everyone. Whatever your taste is, you can find a place that will play it
100%, 100%. And again, I'm very much, it's particularly Ibiza, it would be dependent on night and lineup, not club.
Yeah.
So I would go to Saturday to a place at Ushuaia called Ants because that's the kind of music I like. David Guetta and Calvin Harris, incredible artists. That commercial sound is not really what I like. I'd listen to some stuff, but I wouldn't go to a night out. This place you go to Universe, I'd watch Carl Cox on a Sunday where he absolutely has it, and it's a very different vibe. And so you basically choose the nights, the music. Glitterbox is disco house for young people, but it's slightly more accessible for older people that don't now fit into tech house. You want to find somewhere that reminds them of disco, soul, funk, house. and that's a perfect night for you.
Okay, I mean, it's great. Would you ever have imagined that in those early days when you wanted to be in the SAS or a digger,
Yeah.
that actually DJ was where you should have been headed?
I never would have done that. And I wish I'd actually probably done some more and played an instrument when I was younger, particularly the piano. I want my daughter to play the piano just because that ability to play chords, understand some music structure, I think is really important. And I think there's nothing more romantic or classic than just a piano at a bar or at an airport and sitting down. And also, from a single point of view, one of the greatest things I ever saw when I was about 16, 17, one of the guys I met from up north, he had a guitar and he just sat down and sang to this girl, "You look wonderful tonight." And I literally watched her dissolve on the spot.
It's a skill, that.
Oh my God, it was a skill. And unfortunately, there's lots of things I can't do, and one of them is sing.
Okay, oh, that's a shame. Well, the thing is, you've got a little girl who thinks you're amazing, so
Yes.
you could probably you could sing badly to her,
Yes,
and
I
she'd
do
still
sing to her
think it was
about, yeah, I
great.
do. The other night, she's got a little pink guitar and a pink thing, and you press a button, it plays the thing. So I was singing with her, and she makes up songs, and she's obsessed with. Chloe is kind of an amazing mum, and she knows so much about 90s hip hop, and knows. She listens to and knows the words to every song. I can't. It is an astounding ability. So she's always singing to Bodhi. Bodhi gets in the car and wants, Taylor Swift, wants this. But actually, I quite like some Post Malone stuff. So there's a song called Chemicals, and she gets in, go, "Daddy, you play Chemicals?" I'm like, "Yes, sweetie." And we listen to that, and she loves that. And then she goes, "Yeah, can I get Tay Tay on?" "Yeah, you can do Tay Tay." And then she goes, "Can I see Daddy music?" So I put some of my songs on. She goes, "I like Daddy music."
How does holidaying with a 3-year-old, how's that for you?
So I have taken away a couple of times on my own. Well, I went to Portugal, stayed in a hotel with good kids club. And it was actually really nice. We just played all day in the pool, took up a breakfast, we'd have dinner, she'd do kids club. She was having a nap in the day kind of when that happened, but she's not anymore. I love it. Traveling with a kid is hard, but not impossible. I really enjoyed it. So we've done some family holidays. Chloe's parents have got a place in France, so we can still do that depending on if we're getting on or not. So that kind of is quite nice. But yeah, I think the only problem with anyone will tell you is kids on a plane. Trying to make them sit still, not have a meltdown is a very difficult thing. It becomes very stressful. And so, and obviously very expensive. It's particularly if you want to fly business class, you can't stick your kid in something else. So it's it's a tricky thing to do. It's a very expensive thing. I never really appreciated how much money it costs to get a kid anywhere.
There's nothing more disheartening than when you get on a long haul flight and you walk through business and there's 12 children sitting in business class seats and you're going down the back going,
I know.
And they're all there on their iPads.
I know.
And you're like, they could sit down there.
I know, but they don't. Some parents, 20 grand out of pocket,
Oh, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Mad.
Oh, well, I mean, there's loads. It's exciting. I love traveling. My daughter is now 14 and she used to call planes holiday planes from the age of, as long as she's been able to talk, a plane was a holiday plane.
It's
not a plane. And so whenever she saw a plane, then she was going on it. She just associated it with going somewhere fun.
Yeah, so my boat is the same. So I will call her from the plane when I'm on it, and she loves planes. We go on a plane, we love it. So she loves that. She has that really nice connection. She's very excited, and actually, she's as good as gold. There was only one time where she sort of just wouldn't sit still, but most of the time she's pretty good, loves it, engaged it.
Yeah. And the only other thing I want to mention is the fact that even though you went on I'm a Celeb and you were hangry and you didn't necessarily love the experience while you were in it, you signed up to do another reality show.
I have. I mean, again, I think...
And this is, by the way, Celebs Go Dating.
Yeah, Celebs Go Dating. Again, it's not something I ever thought I would do. But it kind of came around at the right time. I mean, I'm a Celeb for me was the first kind of rugby player to do that and to be put onto that pedestal. I loved it. I loved the experience. It was hard because you learn very quickly. You become beholden to editors and people, and that's kind of the way it is. I went on Celebs Go Dating, I think, not necessarily to find love, but was to kind of showcase myself in a different light. I'm very much like Marmite. People either like me or they hate me, but they have a very certain impression of me before they've met me. And I think there's more depth to me than perhaps people understand. And I think I'm much more intelligent than people give me credit for. And so I think Celebs Go Dating was a way of going on there, having fun, meeting someone. I think obviously being very aware that my daughter will probably watch it one day, being very respectful of my ex. I obviously talked to her about it. And while we're recording this, I mean, I've had 5 dates. I've had one's gone. I mean, they've all been lovely people, but I think one I probably might date again. But we'll see. I don't know when this comes out. I might still be single. You never know. But I'm not. I'll be honest with you, I'm not sort of Some people need people and want someone. I'm very comfortable. I'm a bit of a loner on my own, but I perform when I've got a crowd. So I'm very comfortable in my own space. I enjoy it. I listen to audiobooks, read, sit on my own. It's actually, sometimes when I wake up in my house and there's no one there, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Just have breakfast on my own time and stuff. But then I kind of have the best of both worlds. I have a very sort of busy work life. And then like tonight, daughter, it's my Bodhi tomorrow, and I've got it this weekend, so I have to navigate because the Six Nations on when this is out. So it means that it's tricky. You have to get childcare, but my brother, it's sort of been the making of my brother in terms of how good he is looking after, and that's brought us closer together. So there's lots of amazing moments, but I live very much in the present, so I don't sort of worry too much about what's happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. I'm just doing today,
All right. Well, look, James, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed your trip to Edinburgh.
I have. I love my trip to Edinburgh. It's very nice.
Your nice business seat.
The food cart will be due any minute, I imagine.
It's here.
Oh, it is here.
There
I
you
did
go.
see it, but it's very difficult to do a podcast while munching biscuits. When we've done my other podcast and we ate pizza, Mike Tyndall sort of, through his broken nose, sounds like Darth Vader. And me sort of, I know it's ASMR, but listening to me go is not what anyone wants. So unfortunately, I refrain from eating because it's not the most attractive.
It doesn't sound that good. Well, look, if you, by the way, are on a train right now and you want any food, there's a QR code and you can order from your seat. So you don't even have to get up and they will bring it to you there.
Every day's a school day. I
know. Well, I'll get you some hot food in a minute. Thank you so much, James, for joining us today on Roots from LNER. And James Haskell's new music is out now, so go and have a listen. And if you like what you heard today, why not rate and review wherever you get your podcasts, and make sure you give us a follow too. Also, make sure you look out for James's Quiet Coach episode, which will drop next week, and we'll talk about his travelling snacks, tracks and hacks. We will see you then. Skip the roadblock for snooze o'clock. With LNER, it's freedom all the way. Roots from LNER is a Distorted production.